Good evening, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, what up? Is my audio sounding okay to you?
John, you're scratchy and low.
All right, well, I appreciate the feedback. That was better. I think it's the microphone location. Is this better over here?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, that's what it is. It's the microphone location on the laptop. All right, hey, thanks a lot.
You have your volume. Well, is there I think there's a volume control available. You shouldn't have to get that close to your laptop.
Microphone audio.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
I haven't done this before, but the lower left corner where your little microphone is, where you can mute and unmute.
Yeah.
There's an up arrow there.
I clicked on it. That's what I'm looking at.
And then at the very bottom selection is audio settings.
Oh, okay. Audio settings.
And you can adjust the volume of both your speaker and your mic.
I have the microphone turned up almost full. Now I'm going to check a box that says automatically adjust volume. Now, how does that sound? Does that sound any
better?
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then that was a problem.
Sound normal now.
Normal's good. Okay. Hey, thanks for your help. Here, I'll close out and just kind of join the meeting.
So I want you people to know that I coordinated my dress attire with my virtual background.
Ooh,
That's Denali in the background.
nice. I would have been there at the beginning of next month,
Ooh.
if not for all this.
You would have. That's too bad.
Yep.
I didn't do that, but at least I have the shirt on. See?
Oh, all right. Nice one, Rob.
But it doesn't fit with the Brooklyn Bridge, does it? I gotta fix that.
Oh, hey, Brian, while I'm thinking about it, I did send an email to Pam Curtin about us possibly going to Hannistown. The SWIG meeting later this month. I didn't get a reply back from her.
Okay.
I did see in their website, I don't think they have, well, I know they had their flea market the other week, but I don't think any of their normal activities they're doing right now. So I suspect the answer is no at this point.
Yeah,
Probably.
So Dennis, what beach are you at?
Presque Isle.
Nice.
Yeah, on last Wednesday.
Was it hot up there, I assume?
It was hot and just moderately crowded, but it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go someplace else. It's worth a visit if never been there. It's about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we've been up there before, though I have to admit it's been a while. The lake level kind of, not on a daily basis, but over time, over decades, if you will, it goes up and down.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And the one time we were there, we stayed at a motel that was literally right on the lake. And it was during one of their high water periods. The water literally lapped up against the side of the building.
Wow.
Where was that, Dennis? Where's your picture?
That's Presque Isle State Park
Okay.
in Erie.
Is
That's
that
just,
Pennsylvania or Ohio?
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Right up Route 79, Interstate 79.
Isn't that this weekend's trip?
What's that?
I think that's, if everybody's still going, I think that's what's scheduled for Saturday.
Yes. That is correct, Melissa.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All
Unless,
right, guys. Good, Marty.
I said unless it got canceled and I didn't know about it.
Well, it's actually on my list of things to talk about tonight. I have a very long list. I have 2 items on it. Well, I guess we could get started. I'll start out with WPS at St. Vincent's will not happen this year, the rest of the year.
Oh, wow.
I reached out to my contact there, Kara. She wrote back to me and said their goal right now is to be able to get students into the building, so they're working towards that. I know, John, you had sent me some, I think it was John that sent me some information about that happening. But Kara said that at this point, they're not allowing any outside visitors to the campus. And her best estimate for that was that it was not going to allow any outside visitors to the campus through the rest of this year. Simply because their goal is to keep their students safe, and the better they can control it, the better it will be. So I was prepared for that question or for that answer. That was pretty much what I figured was going to happen. I think I mentioned that at the last meeting, or when we talked about that was pretty well what I was expecting as an answer from them. So at this point, no meetings at St. Vincent and no meetings at Ligonier. Up at the whatever, the town hall up there. So it looks like we're going to be doing some digital meetings for a while. So we're going to have to, I was looking at the meeting list for the next few months, and a lot of them were activities that we will have to figure out how to do. So we'll be having those officers, we'll be having an officers meeting before long. It won't be tonight after the meeting, but it will be shortly, to where we can kind of brainstorm a little bit and figure out what we're going to do for the rest of the year, make some changes to the schedule so we have some cool stuff for everyone to do and participate in. If that sounds good to all of you guys.
Yep. Good for me.
So, we may be able to figure out maybe an outdoor meeting or something where we can all meet together, but stay away from each other and at least get to say hi to each other and see each other. So maybe we'll do that.
Mickey.
But we'll, we'll look at things and see what we can do. So that was the answer I got from them. So that takes care of that. We know that those meetings will be, at least are going to be virtual at this point. The other point of business that I had was the photo walk, which we have scheduled for this weekend. What I'm needing to know is how many people was planning on going to that. I cannot go. I cannot get off of work. So I seen one hand raised there.
Oh,
Refresh my memory. What was it?
It's Prescal.
At what time was that?
Well, we hadn't set a time yet for that. We know it was going to be Saturday this week coming. We haven't set a time yet for that. I know that I cannot go. There's a guy on vacation at work. I can't take Saturday off. I spoke with Annie a little while ago, and I don't know why she's not on here because she was cooking dinner unless she blew her house up. I'm not sure. She was using a pressure cooker. So, but it sounded like she was going to be on here, and she cannot go this weekend. She cannot get off work either. So I wanted to ask you guys what you wanted to do. Suzanne, you raised your hand. You were going. Marty said she wanted to go. Who else said they wanted to go? Beth?
Me, but I'm a maybe because of the weather.
Okay.
And I don't know what Ken's schedule is.
So I haven't looked at weather. Let me pull weather up on my tablet here.
It's supposed to be hot.
Hot.
That's pretty much the standard for right now.
Maybe we should reschedule it.
I was gonna say, if it's real hot, I was planning on taking the kids and Bob. And if it's real hot, Daniel can't go.
Okay. So right now we're looking at Saturday as being a 90-degree day for Uniontown. I don't know what it's going to be for Prescal, but I'm going to assume it wouldn't be much different.
Looking like 87 according to AccuWeather.
Okay. That's going to be pretty hot. All right, but I don't think that we're going to get cool at this point unless we go at night. So I'm gonna let you guys think about that, and we'll revisit that a little bit later in the meeting and see what you guys think. If you want to reschedule it, I can reschedule it at any point after that. I can get off next Saturday, the following Saturday, if you want to do it that way, or whatever. But I'd like to do it this month, which results in looking at a calendar either next Saturday or Sunday, 25th or 26th. If you all don't go on the 18th. If you go on the 18th, I just won't be there. That's all. Any thoughts at this point, or you want to think about it for a few minutes and we'll come back to it?
I'm not going to be able to make it myself. Pat and I are going to be out of town.
Are you ever in town?
Yeah, occasionally.
It seems to be the standard answer coming from the Murphy house there. I'm not going to be in town. I won't be here.
Well, it won't be the same without you and Annie there. So, I mean, I'm up for rescheduling if you want. It really doesn't matter to me. But it would be nice if, you and Annie could go.
Marty, thoughts? You said you were thinking of going?
I was just there, so I'm not going.
Okay. Art Martin's going to be there for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He posted today he was hanging out.
Right.
Interesting place.
Beth, any thoughts?
If it's going to be upper 80s, I probably won't go this weekend.
Okay.
Because it's tough for me to walk around and do stuff when it's really hot. I survived the zoo today, but it was only like 80. So
What was the crowd?
hardly any. It was fantastic.
Wow.
You could actually see all the animals. You didn't
yeah.
have to, you know,
We
try to
got
shoot
grandsons
around.
coming in a couple weeks.
Yeah, zoo wasn't bad. I would consider the 24th if it's not as hot, then who knows? But, or 25th or whatever the last Saturday is.
Okay.
But Ken is supposed to have his gallbladder out on the 24th, that Friday.
Mama, where is she?
So I can't guarantee. Or I might want to escape. I'm not sure.
Well, you don't have to bring his gallbladder.
True. I haven't asked him if he gets to keep it.
We'll have to sign it away.
Marty, your thoughts?
If it's gonna be hot and humid, I cannot go with Daniel.
Okay.
So, but the following week looks just as hot. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure I don't think there's going to be an end to, I think we're going to go from hell to froze overnight. And that's going to be our season this year. It's 2020. Who knows what's going to happen?
I mean, the only way that I could take Daniel anywhere is like in the morning. Like if we could get there in the morning and he could be there early and then get out before it gets hot.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Who else was thinking of going? Melissa, was you thinking?
I wasn't 100% sure. I know I probably won't be able to go next weekend. I wasn't even sure if I was going to go this weekend. I was kind of leaning towards not.
Okay. Anybody else that was thinking of going? Anybody that thinks they might be able to go on the 25th better than this weekend?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, let me think about it for a minute. We'll come back to that. I think I'm going to just move it though, because he told me she could go next weekend, and I don't know why she's not on a call. I just texted her to find out what's going on.
I texted her too.
Okay. I literally was talking to her 12 minutes ago on the phone while she was cooking. So, has anybody heard anything from Margie lately?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. I know that she's under the weather, but I don't know what and to what extent. Annie said that was feeling pretty bad, but she's not returning phone calls at this point. For Annie, I have not tried to call her because typically when Margie's not feeling good, I leave her to hell alone. I've found that works better. But we started. Annie's a little concerned that she's not at least picking the phone up and saying, "Hey, I don't want to talk," or "I'm still alive" or anything like that. So I'm going to give her another day or two. If I don't hear from her, I'm at least going to go up and see Angel on Wednesday on my day off. Her daughter, and find out if she knows anything. So anyhow, I just wanted to see if anyone had talked to her or heard anything from her. I haven't even received an email from her or anything recently, so I'm wondering about that. Okay.
Annie said she had a visitor.
I just got that text message myself.
Okay.
SWIG meeting this week, or the end of the month, is our we're going to do the demonstration of turn a photo into a cartoon, and I am going to produce to you guys this evening or first thing in the morning a scavenger hunt list. And we've decided that instead of making it happen right away, we're going to spend the majority of the month to give you the chance to photograph the scavenger hunt. And I think the way we're going to do it is I'll put just like we have the photographer's choice thing on Reddit, I'll put a flare up for the scavenger hunt, and everyone can kind of post their pictures as you go along, as you find them, as you put them put that flare on them, and then maybe not all at one meeting, but we'll start looking at them starting a month from today. So the next WPS meeting, the August WPS meeting, we'll start taking a look at them, and we'll look at them until we get them all looked at. I think it's probably the easiest way to do that since we are virtual now. Thoughts? Everyone think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I like it.
Yes.
Yep, that
Okay.
works.
And that'll give us some pictures to look at each month or each meeting, and however many long meetings it takes to get through all of them, we'll get through all of them. I did get some suggestions from Alan. I got some suggestions from
All right.
Beth. If anyone else has any last minute suggestions, if I missed your name, I'm sorry, but I have looked at them all. I can add them to the list for the scavenger hunt. So we'll make it either, I don't know. I haven't decided how many I'm going to put on it, but it won't be something that you can do.
Oh, Tim.
Dennis literally just walked out onto the beach.
I was watching that. That was pretty cool looking.
That's cool.
He's on the path.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God, I'm done. I'm going home. It's over.
All
that sand.
Dennis, did you hear us?
I don't.
Dennis, did you hear us?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't.
When
You got up
you
and walked
walked away from your chair, it looked like you were walking down that path to the beach.
No, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
I had to stop. I said, Dennis just literally walked onto the beach.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a dip.
That was pretty cool.
I don't even know what I was saying now.
Scavenger hunt.
Okay, so scavenger hunt. I'll get a list out. I'll finalize it. I've got several things on at this point, but I'll finalize it this evening or first thing tomorrow and get it out to you sometime no later than tomorrow afternoon. And then you will have the month to look at it, and then we'll start. Well, you can post it any time, but you'll have a month to shoot it. So final day of shooting will be the meeting of next month, the August WPS meeting.
I hope all the locations aren't in downtown Uniontown.
No. 28 of the 30 are though. Not all of them. No, it'll be it'll be stuff that you can do in any town, put it that way.
Okay.
But some of it you may have to go spend some time photographing or looking or trying to get it. Okay. So I want to make it a little bit challenging, but not too challenging that you can't at least get all the items. So, all right, that was what I had as far as business goes. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to talk about?
Brian, I think it's worth a repeat since there's at least a few people that came on since you mentioned it. No meetings at St. Vincent for the rest of the year.
Okay, repeat. No meetings at St. Vincent for the rest of the year. No, I contacted St. Vincent, my contact there, and she has informed me that it is her best, to her best knowledge, that there will be no outside meetings on campus at least the rest of this year. So if you joined a little late and didn't hear that, you've now heard it. So those meetings, and some of those meetings were going to be activities that involved St. Vincent. So we're going to make some adjustments to that, and I'll get a officers meeting together, and we'll talk about that and figure out what we want to do as far as those go. Make some adjustments to the meetings. But it is what it is. It's their school. They want to keep their students safe. They're going to start bringing students back. And they're doing everything they can to keep as many people off the campus as they can. So that's where we stand with that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Anybody else have anything they'd like to talk about or mention or bring up or anything you've been doing?
I want to
thank Marty for putting my grandson Autumn on the cover of the July issue PDF.
You are welcome. He looked like he was
Thank
playing nice and cool.
Hey, Brian, what about the insurance that we pay to the college? Does that have to be paid?
We don't pay insurance to the college. We pay insurance
Or-
for us.
Oh, okay.
It's just that the college requires us to have it. So the insurance that we have, yeah, well, we will pay that and keep that. I think that's a good plan because it covers us. If we do go out together as a group, it covers all of us as a group.
Okay.
Uh,
I just, why I was thinking that the insurance was just for the school.
no,
I don't know, but
it
that's
covers
the
us.
insurance.
It covers us anywhere we go as a group.
Yeah, okay. That's right.
Marty, a follow-up from Rex's thank you. I guess I didn't recall. Is there a category for next month's newsletter cover photo?
Yes, there was.
Yes. Go ahead.
I can tell you what it is in a second.
Dogs?
Sorry,
Who's puppies?
somebody is outside. Here it is. Yes, that's what it was. It was your day tonight photos that we discussed at our SWIG meeting. So I thought people could work on something like that and be creative, so we would have something creative. And I was looking for like a before picture and then an after picture. It was a little bit more detailed this time. So,
Brian, thanks, Marty. Brian, I don't know if you have time this evening, or you want to do it at a future meeting, but sometime within the last week, Alan had posted on Reddit questions about image selection and pricing for photo shows. I think that'd be a nice topic for just general discussion at some point.
We're going to talk about that tonight because tonight was supposed to be the scavenger hunt. Obviously, we can't do that if we're all sitting in our living room or dining room or kitchen or wherever y'all are at. Alaska, Presco, John's out west. Yeah, we're gonna go through that. I've seen a few things that were posted on the Reddit. I think that we should take a look at. There was a few questions on there and a few things, so we're gonna take a look at those and just have a nice general discussion this evening.
Okay, good.
Okay, well, while I wasn't here, did you change the date for Presco?
Sort of. The general consensus is that it's probably going to be too hot this weekend, and most are saying that they really would rather not go in the heat this weekend, and the others are saying that they're not going at all. So I'm going to move it to next Saturday, the 25th.
Okay.
So if you're taking time off of work, Annie, schedule that time off. I'm going to text my boss right now and make sure he's okay if I take next Saturday off. He said he would be, but let me double check with him.
Oh, you are. Good girl. Why don't you sit in your chair?
So anyhow. Okay, anything else from anybody?
I don't really have anything if we're going to go over the stuff that's on Reddit.
Okay.
I posted a please somebody take these kind of thing on Reddit.
Yeah, I know what I know what these are, and I have stacks and stacks of those too.
Yeah, me too.
I almost said
there's interesting stuff in a lot of them.
I almost said I'd take them, but I'm afraid I might get disowned and kicked out.
It's not that bad. It's a box about this big.
I have a living room full of them.
Well, that's not.
Well, I'm only getting rid of the PSA ones. I'm not getting rid of all the other stuff that I've got.
Okay, my boss just gave me the day off next Saturday, so I'm good on that. They're usually very very lenient. No, I have cases and cases of those magazines. I have a stack right here next to me that's about 4 feet tall. That are those just from there.
Really? Just
Yes.
the PSA ones?
Yes, they're from.
Oh.
They probably go back 4 years or more.
I might have another pile somewhere I haven't found. But
I like keeping them to go back through. Sometimes writers will have writer's block. So does an artist, any kind of image artist. And going back through it sometimes gives me the ideas I need to actually begin creating something. So they are valuable to keep.
yeah, I can get all the PDF versions of these,
Oh, that's even
I do
better.
too.
which is why I'm willing to part with the paper version.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, I put my request in.
I guess I wanted to thank everyone again for voting for that photo. If you voted for the second one.
Yes, I've seen that
Yes.
you won
People's Choice Award
People's
again.
Choice twice.
Which one was that?
The ostrich.
No, I'm sorry. Which photo contest?
Oh, the Westmoreland Art Nationals.
Oh, that was just decided.
The first one that would have been at 3Cs, I won People's Choice Award.
Oh, and then this is the one that was at Twin Lakes then.
Yeah, I won the
Okay.
People's Choice Award there as well.
Congratulations.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And thank you all.
Yep.
That ostrich is getting many miles.
I know he's famous.
Well,
Yeah.
he's got long legs, so you know he can get that mileage in.
Well, we went there yesterday, and I did take them a framed copy of it.
Oh, did you go down?
Yeah, we were only there for maybe an hour, and it stormed. But I took them a copy of it and gave them the print.
They were pleased.
Oh, over the moon. Over the moon. She was all excited. She said she'll put it in the shop when they can finally, because they can't open the gift shop.
Oh yeah.
When they can finally open the gift shop, she was going to hang it in there. And then when we were leaving, we saw the husband, and he's like, "That's going in my house." And she goes, "Well, I thought you might want to put it in the shop so everybody could see it." "Well, why? I want that in my house." And he's like, "Well, I guess whenever we open the shop, we can put it back in the shop so that people can see it for a while."
So for right now, it's going in his house.
But it's definitely going in the house for now.
And everybody, please forgive me. I'm eating my dinner in front of you. Sorry.
Go for it.
I'd have been doing that too if I didn't get off work till 6:30 today.
Yeah, he just had just enough time to get home.
I literally kicked a customer out and told him to come back tomorrow because I didn't have time to finish with him.
Well, I can tell you the reason I was late is I had KP again. KP.
Volunteer for that.
No, I said, "Hey, I gotta go." She said, "No, you got 10 minutes."
I had a four-legged visitor from across the street. My neighbors are home for the summer for a little while, and Diesel's my buddy when he's home. So I had a four-legged doggy yelling at me from across the street. So sorry.
On your block, most of them have 4 legs, right?
There's quite a few. Yeah, there's quite a few, and they love me because I have treats.
Okay.
But Diesel will sit out there and go when he sees me. He goes crazy. He's my buddy. So, but unfortunately, Diesel has cancer in his one leg. So he's 10. So we're not going to do anything about it. He's got 2 tumors in his leg. So this may be the last time I ever see him. Because when I go back to Missouri, I don't know how long he's going to last.
Okay, guys, let's take a look at, we got a couple of questions over on Reddit. Let's take a look at them and see if we can maybe answer some of those questions.
Sounds good.
Does that sound good? All right. Let me share Reddit with you guys. Okay, you should be seeing Reddit at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see Dennis was giving a couple lights away, but somebody already snatched them guys up.
Melissa did.
Yeah, I just have to get over there to pick them up.
Anybody not know what those are for or would like any information about them? Now would be a good time.
You know, those are probably 10 or 15 years old. I bought them at B&H for $100. I think for $100 for 2 of them with stands. But nowadays, the LED panels are a far better choice. And I never used them. Used them a couple times. They're taking up space in the garage.
I have the slightly older version of those that took the big light bulbs that were color corrected for the type of light you were working with. So,
Yeah.
that lasted like 3 hours, and then the bulb was bad, and you had to buy new bulbs. Rex is laughing. I see that because he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you can't touch them for about 4 hours. They only last for 3.
Yeah.
Once they're hot, you can't touch them.
But I got mine were Smith Victors. I got 3 of them.
Yeah.
3 of them in a great big box that's designed, had a big handle on it that you could carry the box and everything at the same time, stands and all. I actually bought them from a friend that had put rheostats on them so you could adjust the power of the lights through that. You get twice as long out of that bulb. So instead of 3 hours, it was good for 6 hours. Okay, so I see a question here from Marty. How many use pen tablets for editing? Pros, cons, suggestions on which ones? We had a couple comments. Let's see what the comments were. Beth, I have a fairly old Wacom Intuos 3. I really like it for a lot of things, but don't always use it. If I'm healing, cloning out dust spots from the scan film, it's miles easier. I agree with that. My main reason for not using it, my desk is a disaster. I agree with that too. Mine, I have one here on my desk, but you couldn't find it if you needed to right now.
Oh,
I have one. This one's a 2. Intuos 2. 6x8.
Beth's got hers in her hands.
This is what mine looks like. And it's,
Oh, let me see. Which model is that? Whoops, you just.
this is the Intuos 3. I think it's a medium for what they had then. It's the working space is about 6x8.
Yeah, this is 6x8, but I think yours is a newer.
Yeah, this is only about 14 years old.
Oh, that's.
But
that's the same.
It works. The ones they have now have all of, like, these controls are all just down the side.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing is a little bit smaller.
Is this the pen you got with it? Something like that? Has a rocker on it?
Yep.
And
Rocker, and then the back is an eraser.
yes.
The newer version has 2 separate buttons instead of one button that goes either direction.
Mm-hmm.
I found my pen, but the tablet's buried down there.
Oh, okay, we see it.
There's my pen.
Yeah.
Got it.
When I use them all the time, I love them, and then when I stop using them, mine's old enough now that the drivers, I don't think, have updated correctly into Windows, and I have a lot of issues with it. So that's the reason it's kind of buried, and I don't really pay much attention to it.
Yeah.
I do know that, oddly enough, the Forge Academy posted something today or yesterday about tablets and which ones they use and stuff like that. So if you belong to that Flourish Academy on Facebook, go and look there. There is information there as well. And if you don't, I can find it and get it posted up for you, or copy some of it or whatever. The Wacom seems to be still pretty much the industry standard and the leader. There's several other ones out there that are a little cheaper, but the more information I read about them and stuff like that, that's pretty much what the direction that they go is the Wacom tablets.
Well, I've been wanting to work on my new Lenovo Yoga that came with a pen, and I've never been able to get the pen to work satisfactorily. Otherwise, the way I see it, I basically have the same thing as a Wacom tablet right there with my laptop.
Yeah. Now, I do use Photoshop on my iPad, and the pen there works just like the pen on a Wacom if you use Photoshop on the iPad. And the new version of the iPad Photoshop is actually pretty darn good. So if you've got an iPad, that's an option for you as well, if you have the pencil for the iPad.
I wasn't sure because like my Dell will go into tablet mode and it has a pen, so I didn't know if I needed something separate from my laptop.
Yeah.
It may or may not work. You have to kind of play with it with the options, like in Photoshop, the options for the pen as far as pressure sensitivity and stuff like that. On the Wacom tablets, the way they're designed, they actually read the pressure that you press on it, and they can adjust the brush sizes and strokes and stuff like that based on the pressure of your pen against the surface.
It has 2,000 over 2,000 levels. Bless you.
Yeah.
2,000 levels of pressure.
So
yeah, I just need a new pen is what I need to do.
And then I didn't want to scratch up my screen, so.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think that little what they call nib that goes on the end. I don't think that will hurt your screen as long as you use a soft cloth on the screen to keep gritty off of it.
Yeah, I know the Apple Pencil does not hurt the Apple screen at all, and I most certainly don't clean my Apple screen that much, so I don't have any issues with that. But as far as the tablets, the adjustment tablets and stuff like that, I would look towards a Wacom if you were buying one. The Intuos, I think it's the 4 is what's out right now, I believe.
I think they just call it Intuos Pro. But then they have a simple level too. Because after seeing Marty's post, I looked just to see if I did have to replace my ancient one, what would I get? And they've got a couple of different ones.
And they're still relatively priced. If you don't get into the ones that have the screen built into them and stuff like that, they're actually still priced about the same as they were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They really haven't changed a lot in price wise. I think I paid $200 some dollars, $220 or something for mine back then, and you can buy pretty much the same thing now for about the same price.
Yeah, I've been researching like the XP pen and the Wacom and just the different ones and doing the reviews, and then I just got overwhelmed.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I would lean towards the Wacom. They seem to be, and Beth, you can correct me if you think otherwise, but I think they're pretty much the standard as far as the industry goes is with that kind of thing right now.
Yeah, as far as I know, that it's the only brand I've really heard mentioned.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. I'm glad we could be of assistance. Okay, we got to skip that. That's a picture for the contest. Beth, we already mentioned this. She has 10 years of books that she'd like to give away, so please take them. I probably have as many, if not more, and you're welcome to take mine too. I'll load them up in a truck and deliver them to your house if you want. And if you're worried about getting too close to me, I'll just open the tailgate and back up and slam on the brakes and dump them in the yard. All right, what else do we got here? We got New York Transit System photographer. Let's come back to that. I'd like to click on that and we'll take a look at that. Dennis posted that. That's going to be pretty interesting. I haven't had a chance to see that yet. All right. Here is
Eat your sandwich and then I'll give you
a question from Alan. Got a question I'd like to throw out for everyone to answer.
Yeah.
After Wednesday's meeting, I got to looking and thinking about Jim's purple morning. My question, when you decide to have an image printed or to sell an image, what goes into that decision? How do you decide? Yeah, that's the one. Then as a follow-up question, how do you decide how much to charge? And then he says, yeah, I know I need a hobby. All right. And it looks like you've got some comments and answers. Wow. I'm not going to read all that. Y'all can go to Reddit and read it yourself. But we can paraphrase it. Beth, you want to kind of chime in there? It looks like you wrote some answers there.
Let's see, paraphrase. Basically, whatever one really grabs me is probably going to be the one, and no distractions, no, like, I want detail in the shadows. I want detail in the highlights, good composition, and something that really hooks you in. For how much to charge, I mean, other than you putting different numbers on a dartboard and going like that, there aren't easy answers for that. And for my standard stuff, it's basically, I compared a lot of mine to size-wise to other people I knew who were selling photos and picked a number that was kind of within the range of theirs. And then for my alternate stuff that I can't make a second of it, that is a unique thing, then the price is more like, what will it take for me to give this to somebody? How much money are they going to have to give me for me to be willing to not put it on my wall? And that's basically it.
Okay. Pricing, picking a photo, I don't think is as hard as pricing a photo. Picking a photo, it's usually the one that you go, wow, that's the one you want to offer for sale, or that's the one you want to get posted up to somewhere or into a show somewhere so you have a chance of selling it. Pricing it, that's the question that I see in more forums and more Facebook groups than any other question, I believe, other than what camera should I buy, is how do I price a photograph? And John, I know in the past you've shared an Excel page that has helped us to price a photograph. You really have to consider a lot of things into your photograph when you price it. You need to consider what it costs you to make it. You need to consider what the frame costs. You need to consider what the glass costs, all of that kind of stuff, what it costs to print it. You need to put all that into the price of the photograph. And then another thing you have to consider is if it's in a show and it's going to be for sale, where's the show at? I considerably price things a little lower at little local shows or at the garden center or something like that than I would in a gallery. I'm going to add more money to the gallery. You also have to consider what the commission is for where it's going to be sold at. All those things have to be factored into the price of your picture. And then you have to consider, and this is the big one, how much is your time worth? How much time did you put into it? You went out, you spent 48 weeks in a row going out to get the same picture to get the right one. And you've spent time editing, and you spent time getting it printed and getting it mounted and getting it ready for sale. You have to get paid for that portion too. And everyone's time is worth a different amount, you know. So you have to consider what your time is worth. And I noticed Beth made a comment there that the galleries told her to raise her prices because they were too low. Galleries will do that. You go in and say, I want to price this at $75, and the gallery say, no, that's a $400 picture. That's what you asked for. They know. So if they tell you to do that, do that.
Yeah.
Because they know what their clientele is going to spend money on and what they're willing to pay for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they
They do the research
too.
Right. Looking at what other people charge for stuff, that's a good way to at least get an idea. But don't go, well, Beth's charging $500 for that. I should charge $500 for mine. Yours may be worth $1,000, or it may be worth $50. You know, you have to consider what it's worth to you. So there is no easy answer for charging, but there is a mathematical answer, and you can do that part. And as I said, John, I know John has sent us a spreadsheet that you can punch those numbers in. It cost me this, 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 and this, and it tells you, hey, this is what you should charge for it. And
I know.
I think when you price a photo, my opinion is the first start is always John's spreadsheet. I think it's excellent because it makes you think about all the costs you probably didn't consider. You put all that in, and then you realize what the markup is at the show. You realize what percentage you should make on it, and you got a number, and that's pretty much your low number. And then after that, you sit back and look at it, and you look at the value pricing opportunity. And that's what Beth was talking about. It's a unique picture. There's a lot of value there, value to you, so the price has to be higher. Or if you're in a show where there's competitive pictures and you're underpricing based on John's model, then increase your price. But I think it's important to understand that lowest price you'll sell it for, and that's what John's spreadsheet's fantastic at. It just makes you think about everything you put into the picture, what you want to get out of it, and you go from there.
Yeah, the purpose of the spreadsheet was really to set the initial baseline of where do I have to move from. And and as Brian said, there's so many people that don't think of all the other items that are involved in putting the final print together. And I wanted to make sure you had that baseline, and then, like you're saying there, build from there what your pricing is going to be.
Yeah, I think what you did is really what I spent a lot of years running businesses and pricing products. It's exactly what I did. I had a lowest price I'd sell a product for, and that was what I calculated. And I tried very hard to capture all the costs, because if you don't, there's leakage on your profit. So that's what John's model does. And from there, can you value price? Because you always want a value price, right? That's your best opportunity to make money, but that's not always possible. So you got to decide what you want to do with the picture.
Yeah,
I think, for an example, Melissa's little ostrich, he's been winning all kinds of awards, so his price should be going up higher and higher and higher.
Exactly right. That's a value price scenario. It's an excellent example. But Melissa also has to know how much money she has in that picture too, right? To know what that price is.
And the funny thing is, nobody's buying it.
Yeah.
They will.
Nobody wants it.
They will. You'll sell it eventually. It's going to sell. Mm-hmm. It's out there in front of enough people that somebody's going to buy it.
I think that you should put it on note cards and see if places will sell the note cards.
That's something I was talking about with another group. I have different photos that I would like to be on, like, they're not necessarily business cards or note cards, but just cards so that people can buy very cheaply the photo.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like a wallet size, but it's thicker cardboard so that they can have them. And I don't know where to purchase those at.
No, that sounds like you want to put them on cardstock.
Check Moo if they still exist.
Where was that?
Moo.
It's.com. They do still exist.
Okay. I haven't looked for a while.
Yeah. There's a lot of options for printing. And there's another one, and I gotta think. You have to give me a moment to think for the name of it. I'm thinking Photographer's Edge or something of that nature, but I have to think about it for a moment.
Well, Photographer's Edge makes cards that you can put a photo in,
Right.
and then it folds up. I've got a ton of them, like almost literally. And those it's blank inside, you could send as a greeting card.
Melissa?
There's a lot of great options out there as far as printing stuff and getting stuff printed, to use.
Vistaprint is another.
Melissa, if you want to see something in person, you could always go down to that guy at Digital Trafford down in Trafford and talk to him, since he's got all kinds of options right there that's available, and he can do whatever you want within like 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's local, but I mean that's just an option, being that he's fairly close. I still haven't gotten a price sheet from him, but like I said, he was in the middle of doing some transitioning on where he was getting some of his products from. But he's got all kinds of papers for you to choose from and everything else. So, and he's right there.
Right. And Beth, I think you said there was another one, but I couldn't hear what you said.
Vistaprint.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah,
I don't know whether they would do it, but 4imprint does a bunch of stuff.
There's another one called Next Day Flyer that will print images for you too, in different, like greeting cards and postcards and that kind of stuff. So that's another one.
Yeah, because those the crystal ball ones, people have really liked those, and I was thinking of getting those in postcard or a little smaller size, just for a cheap sale.
Yeah.
I would take a look at Photographer's Edge, because you can buy their stock and then just add a photo to it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a nice way when if you're starting to talk about smaller things like that, like a postcard or a small greeting card or something like that. Basically, you buy their stuff that has, and then you just add a 4x6 or a 5x7 photo to it, and it's done.
Okay.
So those are pretty good, and they're relatively priced. It's something that you could buy and sell. So it'd be one that I would take a look at. I don't know where we're at with our question, but Alan, I hope we're helping you a little bit.
Yeah. Well, certainly no simple formula.
No. And Alan, I seen your question to get that sent out to you.
I'm working on it, Brian. I'm working on it now. I will send it out here in a few more seconds.
Okay, no problem. We'll get that to you, that spreadsheet.
Yeah,
I had to figure John was looking for it and he was going to get it for us. So.
Yeah, I have my own spreadsheet that every time I print a picture, I go in and figure it out again.
If you guys look at Beth's picture, she's got some of that.
Seeing that.
There.
This is one of the cards from Photographer's Edge, and they just come flat, and there's little peel off sticky things. You make sure your picture's lined up the way you want it, and then you peel the things,
put it in front of you,
and there's a note card.
Put it in front of you. It keeps getting lost in the background.
It keeps disappearing.
That's
like Dennis did into the beach.
Okay.
So there's this little sticky things, and it folds over, and there's space on the back to put title and like artist name, website, whatever you want.
Okay. At least it protects it then. That's a nice protector.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're all blank on the inside.
Where
But
did,
you
where
get
did you where did you get those at?
Photographer's Edge.
Oh.
You can also order from them with stuff on the inside if you choose to.
Yeah.
You can have, you can order 25 of them with a Bible verse or something, whatever you want to do in there. They can do that for you.
Yep.
So
You can have stuff pre-printed on the back too, I think,
yeah.
if you know what you're gonna put. They do custom cards, they have off-white, they have white, they have sayings on the front, there's a ton. And they've been around for a long, long time. They're a decent company. They also have calendars that you just have to add a print to for each month.
Yep.
It's got like peel off sticky stuff, and
You can request a catalog from them and they'll send you that for the rest of your life.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
I requested a catalog from them in, I think, 96, and they're still sending it to me. And I don't recall if I've ever even bought anything from them. I just get the catalog every month.
Whoever lives where I used to live in Mass is probably still getting them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Brian, I sent out that spreadsheet, so the folks, both folks here on the chat group ought to have received it by now.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Sure enough. Glad to help.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Did that answer did that at least help confuse you a little bit more?
Oh, it confused the hell out of me.
All right. That was the plan.
That was the plan, wasn't it?
Good job, guys.
Yep. We're good at that.
The thing is, you have to, my best advice I can give you is consider your time and your product. How much do you have in it? How much do you want to get out of it? And price it. As far as picking what to sell, the one that says wow to you is a good way to start, at least. It doesn't mean that it's going to sell. And then again, it may be the one that you sell 100 copies of it. You never know. But if you don't get them out there for sale, you'll never sell any. So you got to at least get something out there for sale.
The only thing I had to look at was some of the pictures on that Professional Photographers of America. And I mean, some of them were terrible. There's logs laying in the middle of a waterfall, and they're asking like $50 for it. Well, to me, that's just crazy. I wouldn't give you 25 cents for it. But they don't have any frames, or didn't say anything about any frames or anything like that.
Hey, Alan.
Yes.
I hope that wasn't the PPA lead that I gave you. I only mentioned going to the 12 elements of a merit image, not evaluating some of the work that their contributors put up.
And one other thing that you have to consider when you're picking something to sell. You're a photographer. The person buying your picture is not a photographer. 99% of the time. Because if they are a photographer, they just go out and take the damn picture themselves. So, yes, those pictures on there were for sale, and you looked at it and went, holy crap, that's ugly. That's stupid. That's going to happen, but the people buying it don't know that that's wrong. They don't know that there shouldn't be a log sticking out of the side of the picture in the middle, so they're the ones paying. So, consider your client who's buying the picture. You're going to have a hard time selling me a picture because I'll just go out and take it myself. I don't need to buy your picture.
Mm-hmm.
But you will sell pictures to people, that have no clue what photography is. And they look at it and go, that's a pretty picture. I want to buy it. And that's who you're selling your pictures to. unless you're working with a specific client that wants something specific. That's a different story.
But then we can always go back to the ostrich photo.
It's going to sell.
Mhm.
Keep it out there. It'll sell.
You just need to put this is an award-winning photo.
It's going to sell when the right person sees it. They're going to buy it. I sold a 20 by 30 of the headlight of a 55 Chevy out of the hospital in Latrobe for over $500.
Wow.
And you know why it sold? Guy was walking through the hospital. His wife was in there having some kind of test. He walked by it and looked at it and went, "Holy shit, that's my car." He called me and said, "I want it." I said, "Well, you can't have it till the show's over, but it's yours." And he bought it. No questions asked. He didn't ask me about the price. He looked at it. He knew where I took the picture at. He called me and said, "Was you the one taking pictures of my car down at Irwin?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "That's my car out there. I want it." And he bought it. No questions asked.
Well,
It'll sell.
at this point, I am not upset that the photo hasn't sold because I was selling it for $180. I made a hell of a lot more money than that off of that photo.
You sure did.
Yeah.
So they'll sell. Pictures will sell. It just, they got to be in the right place at the right time, and the right person looks at it and they'll buy it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, again, it was all online stuff, which I am not a fan of doing this online stuff.
If you had that picture hanging on the front of your booth at the Ligonier days, if they were still going on or something like that, you wouldn't be able to keep it in stock.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a seller.
Yeah.
No question in my mind.
Yeah. But by the way, who did win Best of Show for the Twin Lakes portion?
Yeah.
Who won Best of Show for that?
Me.
Oh, you won both shows.
I won both. That's why I'm saying.
Won best of show for both shows and
best
the People's.
No, Best of Show. No, I'm sorry. Best of Show. No. People's Choice Award. I won for.
Okay, that I knew, but who do you know who won Best of Show?
I don't remember. I want to say it was an artwork. Or no, I think it was the photograph of driving down the road. Now I have to look.
So
I was just curious.
Well, hey, Brian.
Yes, Jim.
So roughly 4 years or so ago, I was in Alan's chair wanting to put photos in the first show that I would have been eligible for, not having any idea at all how to price it. And I think several of you tonight pointed out philosophically how one might price it. And John provides the calculation, if you will, as far as costs go. But I think if I was Alan, I want to hear some of you throw out some general numbers, not so much, for instance, Brian, like for you, you've done shows in Pittsburgh. Well, forget Pittsburgh. The shows that we do here in Westmoreland County, throw some numbers out in general terms that Alan has an idea of the general magnitude, the general cost that he might expect, and then he could, for our next show, have some idea of where to price them at.
Okay, so for me particularly, an 11 by 14 picture in a 16 by 20 frame for a local show in the area would be between 175 and 225.
And Brian, that kind of aligns with, I was just looking at the spreadsheet. I picked an 18 by 24 inches because it's a good size that's larger than a 16 by 20, but it's smaller than 20 by 30s, and it's a standard size. And I was just looking at the pricing on the spreadsheet, and with a gallery commission of 30%, it came up with the numbers I had in there, a sell price of around $275. So that would kind of align with your frame 16 by 20. It would just go up from there.
Yeah.
Now again, I sold stuff at the galleries that they closed at the Pittsburgh Center for the Arts, and I've sold stuff down there for $400 a picture. So, you know, it kind of goes, like I say, the spreadsheet here establishes the baseline. And it aligns with your 16 by 20, Brian. And like I say, the 18 by 24 came in at 275. So in around there.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and I'm pricing mine based on what I've priced it at before. That same picture, and Jim said, forget Pittsburgh, but I'm not going to. That same picture in Pittsburgh is a 375 to 425 picture.
Yeah.
Exact same picture, exact same frame. I take it down to Pittsburgh. I hang it in a gallery there. That's what it gets priced at.
Yep.
But
I've sold them for
consideration of your
Area.
of your target audience. Who's going to buy the picture? You know, most likely a art gallery in Pittsburgh is going to have people that are willing to spend more money than an art gallery in Latrobe. It's just, you know, that's kind of the gist of it. So yes, prices do change, but you have to, I really, really recommend using John's spreadsheet and saying, this is my baseline. I will not charge a penny less than this, because that's what it costs you to do. That's your cost. And you don't want to charge less than your cost, because then you're doing it for free. You know, you're losing money at it. And business says don't lose money when you sell something. So now, you know, and I have maybe the same picture that's mounted in a different frame that would be cost more, because that particular frame costs a hell of a lot more money. You know, so if I got $150 in a frame, I don't charge $175 for my picture. You know, I'm going to charge more.
My prices have started to go up since I've really started to dissect what my costs are.
Yep.
And putting everything in. Probably the next round I do, they will probably be like 200 to 250, depending on the paper.
Yeah. My 11 by 14s in a 16 by 20 frame, I think I'm somewhere around 250.
Yeah.
And that's part of that is because I priced it based on darkroom prints, but I don't really want to say, okay, my color ones are worth less than my black and white ones. So I put the color ones at that level, even though they don't take me 3 hours of slaving away in the darkroom with the music blaring and nobody bothering me and all that sort of stuff.
And as a matter of fact, I have one that I put in when I entered for the Southern Alleghenies, they wanted to know an insurance value up front for what you're submitting. And the one is $425 is what I put. And the only reason it's so expensive is because it's on canvas. And those canvas prints are very pricey.
Yeah.
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 Even if you get them at a discount, they're still pricey.
Yeah.
So that goes back to John's thing. You got to put those costs in to get your baseline, and then you start working from there. I know that in some pricing things that I've watched, some videos and seminars through a couple of different groups that I've been in, you think about pricing for wedding photography, and it's no different. What's your time worth? You know, if you're going to go out and do 5 hours at a wedding to do photography, what's your time worth? You know, and what's your equipment worth? You spent $10,000 buying a camera and 4 lenses, you got to pay for it. You know, all that you have to consider in what you're selling. And if you go out and photograph a 5-hour wedding and charge $700 for it, or Uncle Bob or Uncle Tom, I think that's the name they use a lot in the things. Uncle Tom has bought a $300 camera and he says, I'll do it for free. You know, it's hard to ask for more money, but what are you worth? You're worth more. Uncle Tom's just got a camera. He don't know what he's doing. You're a photographer. Makes your stuff worth more. If you're not afraid to charge, people will pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
I found that more often than not. I used to do weddings for $500. Do a whole wedding. I'd be there 12 hours. I'd print out, I'd have 800 photographs printed and get all that done, get it all back, go through all of it, pick it, put it in a book for $500. And then I went, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I charge 4 hours for a wedding. I charge $1,700 and I book more. You know, it's because people go, hey, if he's charging that much for 4 hours, it's worth more. And they pay it.
And I've watched videos whenever I was trying to figure out pricing for doing senior pictures, portraits of whatever kind or whatever. And that's part of what they say your overhead, you have to include like your insurance, your cost of your lenses, your cost of your camera, because if something were to happen and that would break tomorrow, you have to buy a whole new lens. You have to buy a whole new camera. You're not going to necessarily charge them for the whole lens, of course, in one sitting, but you have to figure out how many you're planning on doing and break it up between them so that you're covered. And God, there's so much that went into it. I was making a list and I was making myself sick trying to figure out pricing because there was just so much I needed to add in together.
There's another, John's spreadsheet is perfect for prints. There is another spreadsheet that's out there, and I'll have to find the link to it. You have to pay for the spreadsheet, but it factors in all of that. It factors in all your overhead costs and all that kind of stuff as well. So insurance and cameras and all that kind of stuff into pricing. And it's a really good photographer's pricing thing. It's designed specifically for photographers. And I know a lot of people that I'm aware of use it, and it works well, and they use it to do their pricing. But as far as pricing prints, start with John's and go from there. That was a really long answer.
I have another question, but I don't know if I should ask it or not.
Go right ahead.
Melissa said something that made me think. She said about having it printed on canvas. How do you decide what you want to have your print put on?
There's a good question.
That's probably the secret.
Here's one of the things that you can use is when you're here at our meeting and we're talking about one of your images, a lot of times you'll hear me or Annie or Melissa or Rex will say, why don't you print that in metal or print that on a piece of metallic paper? Get that printed on canvas. If we tell you that, go do it. I can't tell you.
Can I tell you? One of the things that I wrote back to Alan was I put that in bold. I said, am I making this image for me or for someone else? When you're watching that image develop, when you're watching the picture, the scene is developing and you're getting ready to hit the shutter, who are you doing that for? Is it something that you went out there because somebody said, we want you out there to get that basketball at the edge of the net? Is it a wedding? Are you out there doing it because you want to do it for yourself? So your own creativity has to be in there. But the big question is, when it comes to whether or not you can sell something, it's, are you doing it for you or are you doing it for somebody else? And when you think about, well, I want to take some photographs here, but I may want to sell them. So you automatically are thinking of somebody else. And what you said earlier, Brian, was that somebody else doesn't know the thirds and the f-stops and the shutter speeds, but they know what they like when they see it. Okay, so they're going to buy emotionally. So that would be about the best you can do when you're taking your photograph. Is it going to do what you want it to do, and is it what somebody else is going to want? Are you doing it for you, or are you doing it for somebody else? You have to decide that. And it makes it difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy because when we you were talking about selling the picture of the headlight before. I was going to mention the Champagne Bentley. That was an emotional buy. The guy walked by. We had already left.
Yep.
He saw that, and it was sold right off the wall.
Right.
Because it was his. It was his dad's. It's almost the same story as you told, but people buy on emotion.
Yeah, and that guy was like Brian's guy with the headlight. You know, it was his dad's car. he saw the Bentley on there and he was like, I want that. That was my dad's car. I worked on that with him and I want that photo. And
John Wacklow, you have another story similar to that where I think what I remember you saying is that a person had seen the photograph from a couple of states away. He was out somewhere and he saw this photograph and recognized what it was, and it was an emotional buy.
Yeah, Rex, you're using the phrase emotional buy. And
Yeah.
when I talked, I think it was in September, and I was talking about marketing photographs. One of the things that I've noticed, that I'm not saying it's right all the time, that drives buyers is memories. If a photo hits and it steps on one of their memories, then they're more inclined to buy the photograph. Whether that's classic cars, or what was the one, Ann, we sold at, it was at the garden center. I had a picture at Lake Tahoe. I had one of the scenic areas out there. And there was a guy who he and his wife had been out there and said, oh, wow, yeah, that's the picture I want. He was buying the memory, just like the Bentley. He was buying the memory of being out there. And so many buyers are into that. I encountered that in galleries downtown. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better definition of it, that it goes down not to just the emotion, but what is the emotion? And the emotion is the memory of something past that struck them.
Yeah, that they want to preserve. Yeah.
And you said about an emotional buy. I also see the other side is you're catching somebody's attention and they're buying it when they see it because they fell in love with it. And I think that is part of trying to help decide what to print your photo on. Like I've had a couple photos that I wanted them to look more art looking. And that's why I printed them on the canvas.
Right.
To have a different feel to the photo itself. Even like the flaming sword, and I've had a couple other photos that I've put on metallic paper because it makes
all the colors pop.
It makes and there are certain photos that have a glow to the areas that you want to pop, and those areas usually pop better on the metal.
Yeah, the phrase that I would use there, that gallery folks would say, is the photo has, it creates more visual emotion.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the image. And
right.
And that's how I decided. Most of my stuff's done on regular paper.
Me too.
For the most part. But every once in a while you come across a photo and it's like, oh yeah,
you
really
can enhance the emotion, the visual emotion, if you go to metallic or canvas. Yeah,
right.
I agree.
If you look at in Jim Meehan, you shoot a lot in Pittsburgh. You can go pretty much anywhere you want and find a photograph of Pittsburgh.
Right.
In their standard, you can go, you can find it, you can buy it. I'll tell you who sells the big prints of Pittsburgh. It's Dave DiCello, or whatever the hell his name is.
DiCello.
Sorry. In Emmanuel, whatever that name is.
I forget what his last name is. I know who you mean.
I'll find them. I'll post links to their Facebook pages for you, Alan. Those guys sell these great big huge prints. But you know what? 99% of them are on metal because they're shooting early morning, late evening, or nighttime shots of Pittsburgh. And those pictures look better on metal, or they look better in a metallic format. And they sell huge prints all the time. Dave has a gallery in the Highmark building in Pittsburgh, and that's
Fifth Avenue place. Yeah,
there's nothing in there smaller than probably I don't know, Jim, if you've been in there or not. I'd say the smallest picture I've seen in there was maybe a 20 by 30.
Yeah,
I think so.
16, maybe a 16 by 20, but he sells them. I see when I worked down there, I used to see them walking down the street, people buying them and taking them with them. So but it's because of the visual impact of the picture. I mean, like I said, you can go and get a picture of Pittsburgh anywhere you want, but their visual impact, because they chose to print that on metal, or they chose to print it on metallic, and the lights and the colors and everything worked really well with that, made people go, I got to have that. I want that on my wall. So that's part of your decision as to what your subject is, as to what it should be printed on. Melissa's flaming sword, if you printed that on canvas, I don't think you couldn't sell it if you tried. You couldn't give it away.
It wouldn't be as attractive to look at. Like, it's not as eye-catching on a canvas.
You print that on metallic paper like she has, or on a sheet of metal, and you're going to look at it and go, wow, I want that on my wall.
Yeah.
And and you've heard me, I've said it, I think I said it recently at one of our critiques we were going through, and I don't know who I said it to, but I said, take that picture, print it on metal, print it on metallic, and then come back and tell me how it looks. It's just a matter of taking, what's that?
The sunrise out in Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Sunrise in Iowa. And I guarantee you that when she prints it like that, or if she hasn't already, she's going to go, yeah, that one will sell, and it'll show up on someone's wall.
Well, just like that one fireworks shot that I just took and posted.
That was one I told you to print. Yeah.
That you told me to print. That's going on metallic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I took a fireworks picture from when we went down to the baseball game up on the hill.
Yeah.
And I printed it. I did it in silver. I did it in black and white, and I printed it on metallic paper. And that's the one that's down at You Are Here. I thought, to me, that's an average photo of Pittsburgh. Everybody can get it. But they picked it for the show, and it's on that metallic paper, and I think it sparkles that black and white.
Yep.
It makes it look silver.
It does. Right. It looks great.
I've had several pictures picked for shows that I could guarantee that had they not been on the right paper, would not have been picked. Had they not been printed on metallic paper, they wouldn't have considered them for a show.
But it has to be the right photo to go on the metallic paper, though.
Yeah.
And if you're in question about that, feel free to post it on Reddit and say, hey, I want to print this. What do you think I should print it on? Or send it to one of us and say, I want to print this. What do you think I should print it on? We'll be more than glad to give you a suggestion. And you can tell us to go to hell, but you can, whatever suggestion.
You don't have to do it.
You don't have to do it, but I can guarantee you, if we tell you to print it on metal or metallic, do that, because it's going to make a difference.
And I think Susanna had one that I told her I thought would look great on canvas because of the feel I got from the picture.
Yeah.
I think she had a flower and the fish.
Yeah.
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 It had an old feel to it. Like, I don't know, it kind of had the Japanese, Chinese,
yes,
those feelings that you get from, and I thought on the canvas that would really make it look, it would really give it a strong feeling.
It would have that little bit of texture that you get like from whenever you look at a Japanese silk print of things.
Yeah.
So it would give it that same kind of feeling.
And that's why I said that.
Hey guys, I just want to say this has been a really great conversation. So Alan, thank you for posting the question, and all of you that have chimed in on this. This has been well worth a conversation tonight. So thank you all for that.
I got a lot more if you want to go on.
Hey, that's what we're here for. Get them posted up, and we'll take a little bit of time at each meeting and cover something maybe. I always say ask questions. Everyone asks questions, because there's some people in here that's got a lot of experience that would be more than glad to help you out. So, I mean, I still ask questions. Usually like, where am I and how did I get here? But, okay. Any other comments on that? I think that was really, really good, guys.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.
Okay. I think that was the last of the questions that were posted. So feel free to post more questions and stuff like that and get a conversation started, because that's how this works, really. And I seen, Marty, you sent me some scavenger hunt ideas. I appreciate that. We'll get some of them added to the list. You guys
Does Andy
want?
know how Margie is?
No.
No, I do not. I have been trying to get a hold of Margie. In fact, today I tried to call her again. I have not spoken to her. Nobody answered the phone. I tried to get a hold of her daughter too, but that didn't work out either. So right now I have no idea. I'm really concerned.
Sure.
Because I talk to Margie just about every day. So for me not to talk to her, since I spoke to her last Wednesday, and that's the last I've talked to her. So I'm really, really concerned.
Well, like I said, Andy, I will, if you haven't heard from her by Wednesday morning, let me know. And I'll take a ride up and see Angel.
Yeah.
She'll be at work, and I'm off Wednesday, so I'll take a ride up and just check in there with her at the
shop.
At the shop. I need to get a couple of things anyhow from up there, so it'd be a nice ride. There's cookies right up the street I need to go to.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm going into it. Let's see. I don't go to work till 4 o'clock on Wednesday.
Okay.
I don't go till 4:30 tomorrow either.
There's cookies and pies right up the street that have
Right.
They're yelling, "Brian, come here!" So,
well, you know, hey.
all right.
But
while I got the screen shared here, let me let's take a look at a couple photographs. This is my selection of photographs from our trip to Ohio. You guys want to see them?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, put them up there.
That looks like my photos.
Well, you might have been standing next to me when I took them. So
I don't know. I think there was 3 of us that rode out there together.
I like to look for things, and this trip especially, I look for things that weren't the normal. I'm really tired of normal. We've been looking at normal for years, and I'm trying to do stuff that's not normal. So I found this graffiti underneath the bridge, and I thought I just like the rat. I guess it's a rat. I don't know.
It's a rabbit.
Pretty cool. Rat. I don't know what it is.
A very muscular rabbit.
So I thought it was pretty cool. I did it in color, and the color didn't work. This had to be a black and white picture. So it got turned into black and white, and that's it. So I'm going to just go through. I'll make a couple comments. If you guys have questions or you want to say something, feel free to.
Well, Brian, on this one, I have a question for you.
On this one?
Is that the entire photo frame, or is it cut off at the bottom on Zoom? Because whatever the letters are in the middle bottom, it looks like it's cut off.
I don't know what the letters were, and I don't think, let's take a look. Did I crop it?
Well, the question is that the full frame? Are you sitting on 1-to-1 or something like that?
No, that's the way it is. I just don't know if I cropped it or not.
Oh, uncrop it.
Nope, that's exactly the way I got it.
Okay, well, I think that shows more than what was on the screen when you had it full screen.
Does it?
No,
Let's see.
not that much.
My screen, it's exactly the same. But let's do it this way then. How about that? Is that better?
Here, I prefer looking at it like that so I can see the boundaries.
Okay, there you go. All right, we'll move on to the next one. So the next one was another little graffiti there. I just like the raw meow kind of thing. Roar, R-A-W, roar. And a little line.
Supposed to be
And
roar.
again, it was, you know, on that cement, it just wanted to be a black and white photo, so it turned into a black and white photo. I thought it was neat.
Mhm.
This is just a picture upstream. It's not an HDR, it's a standard picture. And
I know where that was taken.
yeah. This is an HDR picture. 5 shots put together so that I could get the inside and outside of the covered bridge.
Nice. You know, if you hit F, it should still show the whole picture, right?
Well, Jim was questioning that, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, it does, but this gives you some context around the edges.
Yeah.
Or if you go full frame, you don't have anything to reference to.
I think we'll look at him that way.
Sure.
So
That's fine. That's fine.
Anyhow, that was a 5-shot HDR put together in Aurora. And this was the same, a 5-shot HDR put together in Aurora.
Hey, Brian, just out of curiosity, I mean, I can guess it's some of them, but so could you name the 5?
Not offhand.
Okay.
You mean as far as 5 stops?
Well, so like which areas of the photo required the individual exposure?
Okay. Well, if you look up in here in the dark area, up underneath here, that would have been one of my shots. Ground is another shot. The green out in here, the highlight, that's another shot. And then a couple in between there for this particular. Now, when I put it together with 5 pictures. When I shot it with about 12. And then when I came back, I picked 5 pictures that covered my spectrum that would make a nice HDR.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. A tree.
On that last shot, if you had bracketed it, would it come out to the same thing?
On this shot here?
Yeah.
Well, essentially I bracketed, but I bracket manually instead of just using an auto bracket in the camera. So basically I shoot from basically a black screen on the back of my camera to almost a pure white screen, and then I pick my shots in between.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So I underexpose it under really far, and then basically I go up every 2/3 of a stop, 2/3, 2/3, 2/3, until it's almost completely overexposed, and then I pick my shots from there.
Hey, Bob DeJesus, are you in a different time zone today?
I
I
think, Brian, I'd like to see you try to share doing one of those.
One of the HDRs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will do that, not tonight, but I will do that in the future.
Yeah, not tonight, just in the future.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So this was a tree and some rocks. I just like the 2 dark spots here, like it had eyes looking at me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and this was up at the park. And Suzanne, I apologize in advance for the next picture.
We know what the next one is.
So when I shot this, we were standing, a few of us were standing there shooting this, and I think the others were trying not to get pictures of people, and I decided I wanted pictures of people in my shot. I think it just kind of give it a little bit of a, there's something going on here. And if you notice, the building in the back is straight. There, Rex, that's for you.
Yeah, that's it. Nice.
And it wasn't straight in the original picture. Let me tell you that. Suzanne, sorry.
It's so funny because we were standing there taking these pictures, and Suzanne just walks over, you know,
front of
Walking,
everybody.
walking, and then she turns around. She's like, "Oh!"
She's like, oh, shit. Sorry.
I definitely deserve that picture.
And Marty, yes, I will send that picture over to you for the newsletter.
Is that hey, Susan, is that a certified pose for using that camera?
Those I always use.
I was gonna ask.
That's right. We were laughing that day, so now we're getting to laugh again.
I was mortified.
Brian, in a public place, you can photograph people, correct?
That
Without
is
permission?
correct. If you are in a public place, the rule is that you don't have to ask people to photograph them. Now, if you're photographing younger children, I would make an exception to that and ask the parents.
Right.
But if people are in a public place and you're there photographing them, they do not have a
reasonable expectation of privacy.
That's the words I was looking for. A reasonable expectation of privacy. Now, if they're in their house and you're in a public place and you're taking pictures of them through the window, that's a different story. But
That's
yes,
invasion of privacy.
Like this,
yeah.
In a place like this, you don't have to ask permission to photograph them and use those photos.
Okay, thank you.
Commercially, if you're selling that photo, that might be a little different if it's going to be used for commercial use. But if you're just putting that photo up for sale, you can do that.
Wow, a flower.
So I think we looked at this flower the other night when we were talking about that one thing that sticks up, and I happened to have photographed the same flower. And there's Suzanne again. And I believe I have Annie looking at me going, "What in the hell are you doing?"
Yep. It's like, what?
There's somebody we might recognize. I don't know. And yes, Melissa, I got you too.
What was that girl doing on top of Rob's back?
Well, we're not really sure because she didn't have any feet. So
she was kneeling.
Marty, I'll get those over, all those ones with the club members in them over to you.
All right, thank you.
Dude, I love that expression of mine. Like, what the hell's going on?
I think Brian, you started doing a little bit of my people photography here.
Yes, I'm trying to do things a little different than I normally do. And I normally don't put people in my pictures because, as most of you have heard me say, for general part, don't really like people.
Brian.
We know that.
But I'm working on that, and I'm trying to add people to my pictures more often. So sometimes I actually wait now for people to show up and add them to my picture. So
okay.
This was one of the water fountains. I actually don't think I turned that into black and white. I think that's just the way it came out. That one, I don't know, it just had no color in it when I brought it back. I actually looked at it several times trying to find color in it, and I couldn't find any. I really don't think there is.
Different.
Oh, the monster.
And again, I said I was trying to do some things that were a little different than normal. So everyone was taking pictures of the pretty flowers. I was taking pictures of the dead ones. I showed this to Annie. I kind of see a monster looking at me. His arms are hanging down, and he's kind of looking at me. And that's what drew me to it.
I think it was like a purple turkey.
Oh, and Daisy.
What's that?
I see
turkey.
a turtle.
Hi, Gracie.
Turkey. I got a turkey.
She's up there. Whoops, she popped in. There she is.
There she is.
So again, this is out of my norm. My norm is one photograph of one flower. So again, thinking about what I'm doing and trying to do something a little different than I normally do. So multiple flowers in the same photograph. And you guys know me, that's very rare for me to even show you one of those.
Yeah, I couldn't
You know
even.
what, Brian? I really like that composition. It's a shame the flower that's in the bottom right isn't facing directly to you like everything else is.
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have anybody move it.
No.
I have a solution for that.
Rex is going to
Use
cut
that
it
son
out.
of a gun.
Rex will cut it out, do a little transform on it, and put it back in there, and away we go.
But I like it the way it is because it makes it feel more natural.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. It's also that one different one.
Yeah.
Like there's always one.
Yeah, like Brian.
Yes. All right. And
Nice.
That's
Cool.
nice.
I can do that now. I have a lens.
I like that. I'm going to go out to my yard and do that because I think I have those coming up right now.
if you like that, you're going to really like that.
I really like the next one because I had to try to do the same thing and I really like the way they came out.
So here's the next one.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's cool.
I like this one. This one kind of, it messes with my eyes, and at the same
It
time,
does.
I really like looking at it too. So
yeah.
it's kind
Is
of
that-
different.
Is that 2.8 or 1.8?
It's an f6.3.
It's just the way the flower
Wow.
is, or way the ball, like the way it was.
Yeah.
Here's the information. 1/1000th of a second. An f6.3 minus a third stop on the exposure compensation, 70 millimeter lens at 800 ISO.
Did you manually focus it or autofocus it?
Autofocus.
Really cool. I like it.
Hey, Brian, I've been watching your ISOs. They're all around 800. Is there a reason you were up that high or?
Everything was all these were handheld.
Okay.
So you want a fast shutter speed.
Yep.
Yeah, his shutter speed is up high.
Yeah, I have a thousandth of a second shutter speed because
Yeah, I do
the
the
wind
same
was blowing. So the
Yeah.
flowers were moving. I'm hand holding. I'm moving. So I was trying to keep a shutter speed that would get me something that was in focus.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were fighting the wind up there.
Yeah.
You're using a vibration reduction lens or?
No, up until this actual day, I don't own one. When I bought the 80 to 400 that I just bought, that's the first lens I've had that has VR in it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, just a rose picture.
Pretty.
I like the drops.
I like the water drops on it. That's the reason
Yeah.
I photographed it. And then water down inside this petal here.
Yeah.
And I debated back and forth on taking this out, decided to leave it there.
Yeah, it's pretty minor.
It helps establish the depth of field.
Pretty.
Another rose. They had some really nice roses if you looked around there.
Oh yeah, they did. They were beautiful.
It was the beginning of a rose. And I don't know what flower this was, but I like the pattern on it.
It's a rose.
It's a rose.
Oh, it's a rose. I like the pattern on it.
I think it's like an old English rose.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Looked pretty new to me. I don't know. And again, out of the norm, instead of the flower, I like these buds.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty.
Another rose. And there's the shot down to the fountain from the other end.
On the fairway.
And I had 4 or 5 shots of that, and that's the only one that I had that had a person in it. So I used that one.
I have one of a little boy running across the top of the fountain.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was so late coming out. Everybody was up at the parking lot.
Yeah.
And there was a little boy running, and I was standing about that far, and there was a little boy running around the top of the fountain.
Another flower.
Coneflower. Those are cool.
Nice.
Another one. And then
Turtle.
got a turtle posing. I just like the look on his face. He looks
I
like,
know.
he's looking at me like, why are you taking my picture? Just leave me alone.
Brian's trying out his new lens.
Yeah.
Yes, this is with the new lens. That's at 400 millimeter with an ISO of 800, 1/250th of a second at 5.6 and minus 2/3 of a stop. And I think the vibration reduction was on that because I was just testing the new lens that I bought. So
Really nice.
and this turtle was quite a ways away from where I photographed him at too.
Yep. He wasn't really that big either. He was.
Yeah, he was a smaller one.
Yeah, he was a smaller one. He was maybe about 8 inches. 8 inches. Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger. 10.
8 to 10 inches, I'd say. And there you go, Melissa.
Oh, the froggy. Hey, Kermit. It's Kermit.
I sat there and waited until they started popping up out of that little pond.
Oh, no.
So this one here was shot at 1/400th of a second at f6.3 at ISO 3200
Smooth.
on the
Still
400
smooth.
millimeter lens.
Still looks smooth.
Nice.
And that was at standard 400. And I think if we look at this one, nope, that one's 400 too. That one's ISO 4000.
Wow.
1/640th. It was starting to get dark at this point. We were starting to lose light, so I had to keep bumping the ISO up to keep it to where I could.
Yeah, they
handhold it.
weren't popping out until the sun was going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little froggy was maybe 3 inches long altogether.
Yeah.
He was little, and he was out into the pond probably about 5 or 6 feet.
Yeah, because I was really struggling to get my picture because I didn't have a long lens.
Yeah, I did get some good shots. I could probably crop them into that because mine, I only have a 200. Brian's lens was twice as long, so.
And
But
then
I did get a couple really good ones like that.
we have this one. So this one was shot at 4000 ISO, 1/500th of a second at 600 millimeter. So the 400 millimeter, my camera has the ability to, I can go in and tell it to shoot at full frame or shoot at ASPC. So I went in and said, hey, let's get a little closer. I changed it to an ASPC
sensor,
which effectively took my 400 and made it a 600 millimeter lens because of the crop factor of 1.5. And so there's my shot at 4000 ISO at 600 millimeter.
He cheated.
Yeah, that's nice. I wouldn't even
Brian, just out of curiosity,
anything.
when you switch it from full frame to APS-C, is that the equivalent like on a phone going from an optical to a digital zoom?
No, it literally stops using part of the sensor.
It masks it off.
It masks it off. When you look, and I had Annie look through it. I don't know if Melissa looked through it or not, but when I turned it, it literally, when you look through the viewfinder, it crops out part of the sensor. It shows you that it's in red and you're not using that part of the sensor.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you did show it to me.
Did I? Okay. I
Yeah.
knew I couldn't remember who I had looked through the sensor, but
Do many full frame cameras have that feature?
I don't know.
No.
I know the Nikon D750 and the D850, the D800, the D810. If you put a ASPC lens on, they will automatically switch over
Huh.
which is what it's for.
But I don't know if the other cameras have the ability for you to go in and say, let me use an ASBC sensor here.
No. Okay.
Where the eight-
Mine doesn't. I have a full frame
Actually go in and
Canon.
change
Mine
it.
doesn't have that option.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, none
no,
of my.
I know, Rob, ours doesn't do
That's
that.
right. You got the same camera I do.
Yeah.
I was
My
unaware that was even a
750
feature
does.
you could have. That's pretty cool.
And actually, that was one of the deciding factors in me buying that 80 to 400 that day that I really didn't want to spend any money on. I had no intentions of buying that lens. You guys know that.
Yep.
But when I was talking to the guy, he said, what camera you have? And I said, I have the 850. And he said, then you have a 600 millimeter lens now. And I went, oh, that's right. Because I can switch that sensor over through the camera.
Yeah, because you had considered buying that, what was it, 100 to 600?
The Sigma or whatever.
Yeah,
Was it the
Sigma.
100 to 600 is the one I was looking at, which I'm kind of glad I didn't spend the $1,500 for that one. But
Well, that one was on sale for 900.
yeah, but I
Then,
could
but
have
then
done
for half of the money, then you got the other one.
right, but I could have done the same thing with that and
Yeah.
shot that lens at 600 millimeter multiplied by 1.5,
Go up to 900.
and I would have had a 900 millimeter lens.
Holy shit.
By searching real quick on Google, I think the 750 does have that option.
Okay.
Yes, mine has it. You can go into the menu and change it.
Okay.
Melissa,
guys
is that,
have
the
that
is that the
option.
camera you have? The 750?
Yeah.
So you could have gone in and switched yours and made your lens longer.
Yeah. I didn't
Yep.
realize it at that time, but yeah.
So
What
let
would
me-
be the difference though between doing that versus shooting in regular full frame and then just cropping down to that same amount?
Yeah, we think alike. Yeah, that was just my question.
Well,
Yeah.
you can, but you don't get the 600 millimeter length out of the lens.
Yes,
No,
you
but
do.
yeah, if you're
You can try it
cropping
now.
it, it's
So-
you get the same effect.
But would that be so that like you could put it on a 8x10 instead of a 5x7 as a max?
What's the difference in pixel sizes of doing the full frame versus the crop?
Well, here's a full frame. The dimension is 8256 by 5504. This one is 5408 by 3600.
Same frog and same distance.
Yep, same frog. He hadn't moved. I moved around a little bit, but he was staying pretty well still. He was looking for dinner.
Yep.
Brian,
Yeah.
it says cropped 2567.
I did crop this into a square format.
Oh, in post processing.
Yeah, the original size is the
Okay.
dimensions above that.
Okay.
Yeah, I cropped this as a 1-to-1 because I wanted it as a square format.
It's good.
Do you have the original one that we could see?
That's the original right there.
Can you go back to the
Yeah,
one
right.
you took it the full frame and crop it down to that level, just for the heck of it?
Yeah, let's look at that one. So let me see here. Let me crop this at 1-to-1.
Yeah, that's about the same.
That's pretty close.
Well, regardless, the structure holds together beautifully so
Yeah.
far. I mean, if you look at it at 4x or something like that, you might begin to see something. But see, it looks good. It's holding together. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
That's
See a
that's
little
4,000
noise.
ISO. So
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
consider you're hand holding that, and we're looking at what 1-to-1.
yeah,
That's pretty amazing.
What's that ISO noise specific
Top edge. Yeah.
preset we looked at a couple weeks ago? Remember there was some
oh, the in the camera, you mean the high
no,
ISO noise
some
reduction?
discussion about a Lightroom feature that did ISO specific noise correction.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I've tried that. That works pretty well.
Huh. I don't remember even where that's at. That's going to be in.
Well, I see it in a preset
Presets?
panel.
Okay.
So, but I can't tell you how I got there.
I'll have to look around for that a little bit.
It's a
There's
nice
our new
feature.
project.
Really in detail.
Grain. I'll look around for that. I'm not sure where that's at
Yeah.
offhand.
Go look in the detail, Brian. In the detail on the right-hand side, there's a noise. Oh no.
Yeah, but it's
You're
not
right
a.
there on the top. Right, noise
That's
reduction.
noise reduction, which I have used a little bit of noise reduction in that picture. But it's not what we were talking about. There's one that's specific that works with just the ISO part of it.
Yeah.
I'll have to do a little more research on that one. But anyhow, those were my pictures.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. They were very nice.
Thank you, Brian.
Excellent.
Absolutely. So.
But I have just a question. Can you
Sure.
choose not the buds, but the one left of that?
The
Right there.
This one here?
That one's fine.
Okay.
That one's not as obvious, but why don't you put them in the center?
Because I didn't want them in the center.
Okay.
To be honest with you. Yeah, and let's go back over. You're talking about that one here. I don't know. I just as I was cropping it, I had it cropped at the center.
Yeah.
It didn't really like that.
Yeah.
I wanted the extra in it.
All right.
You know.
Fair enough.
I wish that the tip of this leaf was there.
Yeah.
I thought really hard about putting it in there, Rex.
That's easy. That's easy.
But then I said, no, I'm going to leave it alone, you know. But I kind of like to put stuff that's not quite center quite often.
Yeah,
So,
I do too, but not when it's so close to being on center.
yeah.
But fair enough. It's fine.
So I didn't really, I mean, it didn't grid out perfectly.
Yeah.
I would normally have tried to put that there, but for the crop size, it's not going to work to get it there. But
Well, Dennis, the first one that he pointed out, the rose was actually looking to the left.
Yeah,
That looked good cropped.
But this one, for example.
Oh no, it was this one here.
And it's obviously it's your photo. You put it wherever you want.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I tend to like to see them centered when they're that close. But it's a personal preference for sure.
So this one here was the other one.
That one there is looking.
Jim is right.
Yeah, this one here specifically, I wanted a little bit extra room there because of the way it was going. And then this one here is more centered. But same, these ones here, you know, they're to the left or to the right for that purpose.
Yeah.
So that they, you know, I wanted them on the right side. But again, I said I'm trying things that are a little different than what I normally would have done.
Yeah.
If I go back and pull pictures of flowers that I took last week or last year, they're probably dead center when it's a single flower like that. More along the lines of this here, the center, or this here.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
it's pretty much centered.
It's dramatic.
I like this picture here. I
I
really
do
like
too.
this one.
That's good.
It's nice to
It
get the
almost
front
has,
focused.
it almost has a lens baby look to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget what I think I shot that with a 70mm lens. Yeah. All right, let me stop sharing there. And we're back. All right. So, all right, guys, I think that probably pretty much the end of our meeting. We're about 5 minutes over 9 o'clock. Anybody have anything last minute that they want to talk about?
No.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
Maybe I'll share some Erie photos on Wednesday.
Okay, that would be great.
Presque Isle.
That'd be great. I'm looking
Actually, I tried to do some of the things you described and shoot different. And there are a few that are different.
I get tired from doing this for so long, and you know, some of you guys have been doing this for so long, and then I see like Alan and Melissa that are relatively on the newer side, and Jim, and they like photograph everything. And I love it because it inspires me to try something different. But the problem is I've photographed everything once before.
Yeah.
At least it feels like it sometimes. So a lot of times I will do what I'm doing right now. I'm trying something specifically different than what I would have normally done. Normally I would have went to that flower garden and spent all day in that flower garden and photographed what may have been some of the best flowers I ever photographed. And this time I went, no, I want to get ones that are different, you know. So I recommend doing that from time to time just to change up what you do.
One of the things that comes out of these Maryland Photographic Alliance seminars, of which there is one tomorrow by Rick Sammons, who is a well-respected teacher and photographer. And if you didn't sign up for that, I don't know if you still can, but you should check into that. It's at 4 o'clock. One of the things that's common in their talks is why you're shooting what everybody else shoots. You know, you're going to shoot a sunrise. I mean, there's millions of sunrises. Find something else that's different.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, you guys have all heard me talk about Kern over the years, and some of you know Kern. But one of the things that Kern always said, with sunrises in particular, you're standing there looking at a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset, turn around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look and see what the hell's going on behind you. A lot of times that's where the picture is. It's behind you. It has nothing to do with the sunset. You get a better shot from the other direction.
I love the colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, the colors are reflected in the clouds a lot of times behind you that aren't in front of you.
And I've done that. You know, that's one of the things that Kern taught me years and years ago. Turn around, you know, look around, sit down on the ground and look at a different position from, you know, just
move to the left, move to the left, move to the right.
But I like very much, you know, as Dennis, you know, I did a year of black and white.
Right.
And with the exception of just a few photographs, everything I did for that whole year was in black and white. You know, and, you know, I like to do challenging things for myself just to make me do something different and think differently about what I do. So if you find yourself kind of getting in a little bit of a rut, or you're doing the same thing over and over again, stop and say, let me try something different. Let me do this, and don't do it just once. Do it multiple times, multiple days. One of the things that I like to do is pick a single lens and only shoot with that lens for a month. And say, that's it. I'm only going to use this lens and make that work for anything I photograph. So there are different things like that to keep you thinking about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, Brian, I think that's correct, to find something unique that is different, that captivates you as well as somebody else that may look at a photograph and all that. And, you know, that's the thing. You have to be very observant of what's around you, your surroundings. And I think that's part of the process, to learn what's captivating, what's unique, so that when you take that photo, you say, okay, that's a good photo, out of the ordinary, or just different from the you know, the usual ones that are taken by yourself or anyone else and all that.
Right.
I think it's neat to go with everybody and see what everyone's attracted to.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going somewhere different to take something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always funny when you're stopped somewhere taking a photo and you're the only one there, and then you look around like 5-10 minutes later, there's like
Everybody's there.
exactly, yeah, everybody with phones, cameras, everything. It's just kind of funny.
You know, and that kind of, if you think back to our older challenges that were not just photographers' choices, the original idea of the challenge was one subject, everyone photographed that subject and see what happens.
Yeah.
Everyone photographed it differently. And Rex, you know, you was with us a couple of times when we did a challenge of a specific car at a car show indoors in an arena with 10,000 people in it with the weirdest lights you could do. And what car did I pick? A stainless steel car for y'all to photograph.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beth, you were
Oh,
there.
yeah.
You remember
I
that
did.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try photographing a stainless steel car and making it look good in an
Yeah.
indoor
I've got,
place with overhead lights.
Yeah.
I still have my stainless steel Ford photograph. Yeah, that was a challenge.
But
But
the
That
cool thing is also in doing that, everybody's communicating and talking about what they're seeing and what they're trying, and everybody's picking out something and
Different.
learning from it.
right.
Yeah.
So that's the important stuff. But if you're out by yourself, say today I'm going to only photograph dead flowers and see what happens. You know, or today I'm going to look for tree branches and I'm only going to photograph tree branches. Just do something like that from time to time, just to challenge yourself, and you'll learn more about your photography and what you're doing by doing that. You really will. I've done it since I started. I've always done little challenges to myself or little projects. I like to work with projects, and projects sometimes take months to do. But you keep those in mind as you're walking around and going, hey, I'm working on clouds. Oh, there's a cool cloud. Let me get that picture today. I'll add that to my collection. Or I'm working on fence posts, whatever it is. Just give yourself a project and a challenge, and it'll help. I promise you that in learning photography and learning what you are good at and getting you better at what you're not good at.
Perhaps also what you could do, Brian, is think of the old days when you had just the film and you only had 24 exposures and you only had 2 rolls. Okay, so you only take 24 or 50 shots and you have to make them count because that's all the film you had. So that's when you really know how to be observant and when to take a picture. Now you have digital, you can take 100 pictures, but it doesn't mean anything. But the old days, 24 exposures were 24 exposures.
Well, Ansel Adams said that 12 good images in a year is a really good year.
Yeah.
And that stands true to today. And if you look at, there's a meme that goes around every now and then I see on Facebook, and it's something to the effect of, years ago we had a 24 exposure roll of film. We got 1 good picture out of that.
Right.
And then we moved up to 36 exposure roll of film and we got 1 good picture out of that. Then we moved to digital media and we take 10,000 photographs
Right.
one day and we get 1 good picture out of that.
Yeah.
Practicing to getting that 1 good picture more often without taking 10,000 photographs, that makes you a better photographer. It really does. And for those that did not come up shooting film and that expense, I'm sorry, you guys missed out. Beth still does it every day. She goes out and takes 1 picture maybe for the whole day because it costs $12 to take that 1 picture, or $25 or whatever it is it costs. But, when we did film, you had to think about that. You'd go out and take our 24 roll exposure film and, sometimes that roll of film might last me 2 or 3 weeks of taking pictures because I really thought about what I was photographing and didn't take the 700 photographs to get there. And if you challenge yourself to do that, even today with digital, you'll be a better photographer because you'll think more about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, I've really been on a soapbox tonight, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
But seriously, those kind of things will help you. I promise you that.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm done. Anybody else want to say anything?
Thank you, Brian, again.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. This was a great meeting. I appreciate all the comments and
Melissa, we're friends on Facebook, right?
I think so.
I'll send you a note and we'll work out an exchange of these lights.
Okay, sounds good.
so.
If
Okay.
anybody wants the
Talk to you
PSA
tomorrow night.
journals, let me know.
Wednesday night.
Okay. Rick signing off.
All right, I'll see you guys on
Good
Wednesday.
night, everyone.
Rex.
Take
Good
care.
night.
Hey, guys, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
You're
And
welcome.
everyone. Good night.
Good night, Suzanne.
Bye.
Good
Good
night,
night.
Amy. Night.
Good night.
Good night.